There's a lot of concerns about root canals. Everybody's like, well, don't get a root canal. It's really bad. Never get a root canal. Oh, that's bad that you got root canals. How many root canals do you have? 5 root canals? Oh man, that's really bad. Did you know that? Those root canals are really bad. And I'm going to tell you why everybody says they're bad, but yeah, they're bad. That's what you hear out there, right? But if you don't get a root canal, then you can't keep your tooth. So it's like, okay, guess I won't get those 3 or 4 root canals, so I guess I'll just be toothless. Maybe I should not get these root canals done over here. I don't have any root canals. I'm just telling everybody I don't. Never had one before. But I guess I have these 3 root canals here. The doctor wants to put 3 root canals, a dentist. Let me just tell him no and yank out all the teeth, and I'll have no teeth. So the option is, what do I do? Get a bridge? So it's like, root canals are bad. Okay, give me the answer then. Okay, sounds good. I'm convinced they're really bad. What do I do? Perfect. Give me the solution. Get your teeth pulled. Get implants. Really? Get a bridge. Really? Okay. I guess it's not easy. It's not easy for anyone. That's the whole point. So the root canal thing is quite a conundrum. It's a catch-22. It's if you want to keep your tooth, your own tooth, if you want to keep your own teeth and a hole gets burrowed down in that tooth so deep they can't fill it anymore, then it's root canal time. And so let's talk about that a little bit. A lot of people believe that root canals are the root cause of somebody's chronic illness. Wrong. A root canal is not the root cause. Yes, can some root canals over time collect bacteria and become a low-lying, underlying, low-grade bacterial infection in some people? Yes. Doesn't mean you're going to get sick. It doesn't mean you're going to have pain in your jaw. It doesn't mean you're going to have chronic fatigue syndrome. It doesn't. There's people out there that don't have the Epstein-Barr causing a reactivation, and their Epstein-Barr gets out of control, and now they got CFS, they got all these different conditions, they got fibro, chronic fatigue syndrome, and they get all these other issues. It's not about that. Because you can have 10 root canals in, they could be causing some low-grade bacterial problems in some of the root canals and never have a symptom and just keep on going until you're 80 years old, 90 years old, whatever. So TMJ, right, or trigeminal neuralgia, those are caused from herpes simplex 1. Shingles is the bigger one right there. That mostly does it. You get the jaw pain, the burning tongue, burning mouth. You get all of that. Depends. You just get back of the neck pain, side of the head, temple pain, jaw pain, here, all around here. And you can get this trigeminal neuralgia where your nerves, your trigeminal nerve, a cranial nerve, right? Or your cranial nerve is causing pain and suffering. So now you're dealing with all this pain and suffering from the cranial nerve being inflamed by simplex 1 or by shingles, okay? But that's different than what your root canal is doing if your root canal is having a problem. If your root canal's been in there for 15 years and something is happening with it, that's not the root cause of somebody's condition. You can have a brand new root canal put in, right? A year later, and that root canal is perfectly fine. And a year later, you get trigeminal neuralgia because you got this other shingles or simplex or something like that that's actually inflaming the trigeminal nerve. And now it's like, is it my root canal? Is it my root canal? And then you go to the dentist. The dentist pulls out all your root canals. And next thing you know, pulls out all your teeth. And now it's still there. And it's still bothering you. And this happens to so many people. Yes, you can have a root canal that becomes infected and problematic, and that's true. You can have one of those. And if it gets really bad, you can get an abscess, and that's an entirely different story. So if you get an abscess because you have a bacterial infection, that's a different story. That's a problem, and yeah, that root canal has to be addressed. But most root canals, and that root canals that people have, they don't have those problems. And if they do get a chronic illness, that's another problem. There's another root cause. You got the Epstein-Barr, you got the shingles virus, you got the simplex 1 virus. You have these other conditions. You have these other viral pathogens that are keeping you sick. And those are the very things that are giving you your fibro and your chronic fatigue syndrome and your RA and other things like that. Your thyroiditis. It's not your root canal that causes your thyroiditis. That's not what it is. So it's important to know. So when it comes down to root canals, and if it's your only option, unless you can't go through, unless you're too chronically ill or too chronically sick and you can't handle the dental work, you can't handle the numbing agent, you can't handle getting the job done, you're too chronically sick, and then that's a different story, and then you can't get that root canal, and then maybe sometimes it's better off to pull a tooth. Instead, for some people, I got friends that over the years, they've had a tooth pulled because they're like, that's how they handled it. Right? But for the most part, everybody needs their teeth. We need their teeth. We don't want too many of our teeth missing. So if our tooth starts to crumble inside and falls apart and we have to get it drilled and we got to get that root canal, I completely understand. And it doesn't mean that root canal is ever going to create chronic illness, because root canals do not create chronic illness. Mystery pain. So many situations where people get mystery pain and they get unnecessary root canals, and that happens all the time. So we'll talk about that for a second. Can't tell you how many times I can't tell you how many times people have gotten unnecessary root canals. So it's important to know that a lot of people, I'm not laughing about the root canal situation, so you guys just bear with me. I'm laughing about back there. So, when it comes down to root canals, a lot of people suffer and struggle with pain that's mysterious. I can't tell you how many times people have gone to the dentist. My God, my jaw hurts really bad. My tongue is killing me here on the side. My gums are like on fire and I don't know what this is. Or I just have pain. I have pain in the jaw here. I have pain in the tooth here. I have pain here. And they're just like, and this tooth hurts so bad I can't even touch it. What's wrong? And they do the x-ray. They get the digital x-rays. They get everything looked at. And it's fine. But then the dentist is like, we got to do a root canal. I want to drill that tooth. Oh my God. And then you go to another dentist, get a second opinion or a third opinion. They're like, no, don't touch that tooth. So many people, though, they've gotten sucked into so much unnecessary drilling and teeth that never even had a cavity in it or a filled cavity ever. And I've seen people get, before they've come and seen me or asked me about it, they've gotten 4 teeth done, 4 molars done, were root canals, and they never even had a cavity before that. And their pain was still there. And I'm like, you got trigeminal neuralgia. That's a viral condition. And now they got all these root canals. So many people get unnecessary drilling, and that's what they're up against. So we'll talk about it a little bit. There's a lot of fear and chaos that's always been about root canals. I've never been against root canals. If someone's too weak to get a root canal because they're so chronically sick and ill and it's a hard thing on them and everything, that's a different story depending on what's happening. If they have a hole directly through their tooth, they went to a dentist and he was cleaning up a cavity and it broke through, and he's like, oh my God, we have to do a root canal. I kind of underestimated this. And I understand when people have to get a root canal, but I don't want people in fear of root canals, because the only other options you really have is you get the tooth pulled, or you get a bridge or an implant. Me personally, if I ever did have a tooth problem, and someday that happens to me down the road, if it ever does, and my options are to get an implant or get that a root canal done on that tooth, I would go with a root canal personally on the tooth because I want to save my tooth and keep my tooth and not have an implant. But I understand when people have to get implants and things like that. So what I like to do is keep the immune system strong so that if there ever is a problem with the root canal, which isn't the root cause of chronic illness, like so many people believe. And I remember this went around for a long time where root canals are the cause. They're the cause of chronic illness. It's like, no, they're not. They're not the cause of chronic illness. Yes, a root canal can go south. And yes, there could be a low-lying bacterial infection under there. And so, but that's not going to give you a whole lifetime of chronic illness. That's not how it works. So keeping the immune system is strong and making sure you're doing things like with the medical medium information about immune system and all the things you can do and the zinc and the things you need so that you don't get bacterial infections and problems. But people are dealing with other things. Anyway, this concludes today's exclusive newsletter video about root canals. I can't wait for the next one, and many blessings. Love you guys.